I haven't recorded any of this game for fucking ever, right? And I haven't done that because even now, as I'm recording more of this game right at this second right now, there's still like I think about 3 episodes that I have scheduled to upload that haven't been uploaded yet. So there's no point in me playing this at all. But I'm playing it anyway because it's a fun game and it's a game I enjoy. It's a game I want to play. So we're doing the 600cc Men+Motors Intermediate Trophy, just because of all those events where the sound of the game was out of sync with the recording. And I'm still talking about this, however long later after it's already been fixed. But all those videos where the sound was out of sync have really pissed me off. There's so many things that the Elgato does that just irritate me. Like, whenever I try to record Grid Autosport, it always royally fucks me. Alright? And then when I tried to record this, it got the sound out of sync. And I don't even know how that would happen. I don't get how that takes place within the recording software, because it's what? I don't get it. That's all I can really say, because I don't really understand entirely how it works. You know, I'm not a fucking nerd, right? I'm not gonna look into how it works. I'm just gonna say I don't know why it would have broken like that, and why that would have happened. So I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna stop complaining in case it decides to do it again. And if it does, you know, as usual, I'm going to remind you to not buy an Elgato, because they're fucking garbage. It's not like they have any competition either, so they're going to keep being garbage as long as no one else makes a decent capture card, because I'm pretty sure no one else does. It's decent when it works, but for the amount of times that it fucks up, it's not good at all. Is the Elgato in a nutshell. So you just got to be lucky and hope that it works. There's been a lot of stuff coming out about the new TT game recently. A fair few videos from Team VVV, and I always check in on their podcast to see what they're saying about it. But it only usually gets like just a little 2-minute segment, because, you know, there's pretty much no information coming out about it. And, you know, the Team VVV guys did get a chance to play at E3, but because they brought a version of the game to E3 that allegedly only has like, allegedly they said it had like the physics barely even programmed, they didn't want to record any of it because they said there'd be no point. So I see that, and there's really no point showing any gameplay when all they have is the visuals, because even the visuals aren't totally finished, because half the roads don't have any road markings on them. And they didn't even fix that for when they recorded the release date trailer. I can't remember when it's getting released. I think around October. I can't remember. It might have been October or November time. So I'll probably get my hands on it this year. After this game, it'll probably be the next one that I play. If I don't have it by the time I finish this game, then the next game will be Extreme G3. But I should have it when this game gets done. Is the plan, at least. I'm not entirely confident about it though, because it's from the same people that made WRC 3 and 4, which I haven't actually played, but they look pretty bad. And it's also from the same people that made Motorcycle Club. And if you remember Motorcycle Club at all, you'll know why that's not. I was going to say that's not a good sign, but it's a massive red flag that they made Motorcycle Club, and then they get the rights to the greatest race on Earth. And I've been I've been pretty cynical online about it recently. You know, I've been saying that like they got it right on the PS2, so there's literally no excuse to not get this game right on Xbox One, PS4. I don't want to use a current year argument, but I am going to have to use a current year argument because there is literally no excuse for them to fuck this game up. Because Jester, a literal nobody company who made like 4 games, managed to get it right. Fuck. I haven't got it right, but Jester got it right. You know, Jester got it right, so there's no excuse for whoever it is now to get it wrong. More than a decade later. But they probably will. And I'll be there to insult and berate. Because that's what I do. I want to be the pretend race cars of YouTube Let's Play channels. That'd be pretty fun. Be a bit controversial. And then eventually they'll give me a ride in like World Superbikes or something for being controversial enough. Or BSB. You know, that's the basic plan. If I shit on Kilotone's game enough, maybe they'll bring me in to ride a bike sponsored by them in the BSB. I think that's a good goal. That's a good plan. I'm liking the sounds of that. That's what I'm gonna go for. You know, Project Cars and Slightly Mad Studios sponsored our boy Ossian Oganowski to race a turn left car, so I'm pretty sure Kilotone will be able to buy me a race bike. How hard would it be, right? I don't know what kind of qualifications you need to have for them to approach you like that, but from looking at PRC, it seems that all you have to do is criticize the game enough and point out big flaws with it. So I'm gonna have to do that, and then I'll be racing in BSB. What a good time that'll be! Am I right? There's not a BSB game, funnily enough. There's World Superbike games, but there's not BSB. And to be fair though, the World Superbike games were Milestone when Milestone were not a good company. But now they're pretty right. MotoGP 17 looks pretty good. MXGP 3 looks good. I'm not sure what to think about Gravel because it's not out yet. But also because, well, for one, it's named Gravel. That's not really sure what the plan was naming it Gravel. Are they trying to make it look like a bargain bin knockoff of Dirt? Because it's working. It's working. And there's not a lot of, I haven't seen a lot of information about that either. You know, everyone's too interested in the Crew 2, which is just the Crew mixed with MX vs ATV Unleashed, because it's got planes in it and boats now. And MX vs ATV didn't have boats, but it did have planes and helicopters in the olden days. I'll play Unleashed at some point, right? The main focus is like 250cc indoor and outdoor motocross racing, but every so often a gimmick race will come up, like racing helicopters or trophy trucks or something. Like in Reflex and Untamed, the trophy trucks got their own like little championships that you could go off and choose to do, but in Unleashed they were just like gimmicks mid-season to keep you interested in the game, which I don't need. I'm more than happy to just race dirt bikes. I don't need like to. Actually, I'd prefer if it was just dirt bikes, because the helicopters and the planes and stuff are really hard. Like, if you crash the plane, you have to take off from the airport again at the beginning of the shit. At the beginning of the stage. I'm not sure how this is going to affect the points tables, finishing second on this stage, but it's not going to be good. I'm going to have to pull something out the bag for the last set, I think. Adrian McDonald. Yeah, because when you race the, yeah, I think I'm second. I'll have to pull something out the bag. Because like, yeah, if you crashed it, like, raising the planes was a one-on-one thing, and you have to fly them through hoops in like, because it's like checkpoints basically. You fly them through the hoops to get to the finish line. You have to be the first one to get through all the hoops. It's just a checkpoint race, but in the air, right? But if you crash into one of the hoops, you have to start all the way back from the beginning. So you got to restart and just do the whole thing again. They're pretty difficult, and the helicopters are even harder because the way helicopters work in real life is fucking retarded, right? Because to go forward, you have to go down as well. So you can't, like, you have to. I'm pretty sure there's a button you can press to like gain altitude to offset the fact that you have to point the helicopter towards the ground to get it going forwards. But it's dumb. All right, helicopters are retarded. I don't under I mean, I get like the basic premise of a helicopter, and I get how it's useful, but like the way it actually works just baffles me. Right? It does not make sense. Those are my thoughts on helicopters. I prefer the planes. Like, at least I don't like how you have to like steer toward, like, push the stick. I'm whatever. I'm rambling. Actually, I'm complaining about things that make sense now instead of things that don't make sense. Stop looking over your shoulder and focus on the road. Because if you look behind you too long, you'll hit something in front of you. See, look, like that. What? Why doesn't it affect Adrian? What's Adrian got that the guy in the Kawasaki didn't have? What kind of advanced phasing technology does Adrian McDonald possess that the guy in the Kawasaki didn't? Because the guy in the Kawasaki hit my bike in the exact same way that Mr. McDonald did. Which means I'm going to have to restart to make sure I can win. What stage are we on? Stage 4? Was that? I'll have to race the first 3 stages again and I'll come back for stage 4. I think that's what happened last time I tried to ride the Triumph as well. So I should probably stop riding the Triumph. Well, I did manage to fuck up on the 3rd stage again. I'm not gonna lie, I did exactly the same thing as last time, but I managed to come 2nd instead of, I think, 3rd. On the first 2 stages, I got them perfect. I can't even remember how I crashed on stage 2 the first time I tried it, but I did. I'm not gonna pretend that I didn't crash there, because I did. I don't know how I managed it, though. But we'll gloss over that now. We'll pretend that never happened. Time to try stage 4 for the first time. I need to remember from past experiences, not past experiences that caused me to have to retry half the events in this episode, but, you know, past events in general, and my knowledge of this game, and what I know about the TT and the TT course, is that I need to look out for bollards on the outside of corners, because those things are rock solid, and if you hit them, you is dead. I also need to get Adrian and his Honda to stop leaning on me all the time. Can you believe him? He tried to push me into a little wall on the inside of that corner. What a dick. Stop! Stop! Whoa! Oh no! Oh, you bastard! Well, I took out the Cowie. Couldn't take the Honda. Oof. Yeah, I'd be angry too. And swerve at the guy that just murdered me because he murdered himself. I think I want to finish 2nd to win. So if I could get my skates on. And make up for being a colossal fuck up, then not everything is fucked. Especially since this isn't even the last stage, and I'm still leading in the points. I just need to. I just want to finish second to keep my hopes of winning this championship overall alive, and then I want to win the final stage just to make sure, just to compound everything, just to round it all off with a neat little bow. So I need to catch up with that Suzuki that's just a little dot on the horizon. You know, he's only just within draw distance. Although he's getting ever so slightly bigger. Let's have a go at him around here. Excuse me. Nudged him a little bit, but I'm probably going to stay in front. Can't even see Adrian on his Honda no more. He's disappeared. I think I managed to make a mistake when I was talking about MXvs ATV Unleashed earlier. I think I said most of the game was racing 250s. I actually think most of the game is racing 125s. And then you have to unlock the 250s and any bigger bikes, but I'm not entirely sure about that. I don't really remember. It's been a while since I played it. And then I also said that Milestone weren't such a great company when they made the World Superbike games, and I was right. I'm right about that. But Superbike Generations, I've talked about this before. I talked about this in, I think, one of the episodes. I just need to finish ahead of Adrian to win. I think I talked about this in an episode of Grid Autosport, because Grid Autosport has the Algarve circuit in, I think, Argentina. And, you know, one of the World Superbike Championships had that track as the first round. I can't remember which year. It's either 2011 or 2010, because 2009 started in Australia. So that's probably what caused me to talk about it in an episode of Grid before. But I want to talk about Superbike Generations now, because that's actually a really good idea for a sports game. And I want to mention it again, like, you got to include multiple seasons worth of content, and then have the career mode be every time you start a new season. It actually starts a new year with the updated bikes and the updated liveries and stuff. Give him a bump. Fuck off, mate. Need to make sure not to touch the Kawasaki, because I've definitely cucked him out of anything so far. So I need to be a little bit more careful of the Kawi, but the Honda is a no mercy opponent. The way I see it, there's about 3 minutes of this video left, so I might as well tell a story that will only take about 3 minutes to tell, about when I was riding around to my nan's house to get some dinner yesterday, and I blatantly just ran a red light. Like, it turned yellow, and I had plenty of opportunity to stop, and then it turned red, and I just kept going. And I could see, like, traffic pulling out, and I was like, ah, shit. But, like, at the same time, I couldn't see the stop line for the lights. Like, I didn't know where I was supposed to stop. So I panicked and kept going. And it was one of the worst experiences of my life. Like, I wasn't scared at all, because nothing actually came close to T-boning me. The closest I've come to getting, like, properly T-boned was when I actually had right of way. Like, because at the top of my nan's road, this wasn't on the same day, this was ages ago. At the top of the road my nan lives on, there's this little painted roundabout, right? And half the time, to make the corner in time, you just have to cut completely across, like this. Literally one of those in that corner, one of them roundabouts. And there was a gap in traffic, so I went for it. And then this guy in one of those miniature vans just started driving straight towards me, and I was like, "What were you doing?" And I kept going, like, getting across this roundabout, and it wasn't that close. I've probably had closer. Like, I mean, I've definitely had closer, but this is one of the times when I was looking at this guy that was driving straight towards me and thinking, "What are you doing? Stop! Turn away!" But he timed it just right. It was a real Well, they're all cutting through traffic on the Need for Speed sort of moment. And I said that at E3 everyone was too... Also earlier in this episode I said everyone at E3 was too focused on the crew, but they're also far too focused on Forza 7 and Need for Speed Payback. Need for Speed Payback is going to be shit, just like 2015, and Forza 7 is going to be more of the same, and I'm probably going to end up getting it anyway. Like, they announced the first 167 cars on the car list, and it's like, who... A new bike. That's probably the Honda. If I just have a look. If it'd load in. It is not the Honda. It must be a 750 then. Alright, well, I'm not going to play this game again until I'm in need of recording an episode. But next week for you, I don't know how fucking long into the future it'll be for me, but next week for you, the Olin's Castletown Road Race, I'll probably ride... I think I've already used the Suzuki as well, and I've definitely already used the Triumph, because I used it today. So in terms of, like, other bikes I could use, there's literally just the Kawasaki. So you're probably going to see some more, even more Kawasaki's. But then when we get to the 750s, hopefully there should be a little bit more variety in terms of bikes. And then, you know, we'll get to the 1000cc's and the sidecars, and then blah, blah, blah. I've talked about this a million times, just going to end the episode.